Hello everyone, I'm Didac Folk. I live in Spain and I'm passionate about economics. That's why I make these videos to share my interest and also to improve my English. In today's video, we'll talk about what inflation really is. Inflation is one of the most talked about concepts in economics, but ironically, it's also one of the most misunderstood. Most people think that inflation simply means prices go up, and yes, that's part of it, but it's also not the whole story. At its core, inflation is the general increase in prices over time, which means that the purchasing power of your money decreases. In other words, the same amount of money buys you less things than before. But let's go deeper. Why do prices rise in the first place? Economists point to several causes. One classic explanation is demand pull inflation. When many people want to buy a limited amount of goods, prices naturally rise. Another cause is cost push inflation. When it becomes more expensive for companies to produce things, they pass the cost on to consumers. So far, this is standard textbooks economic, but there's more. A major factor that many people overlook is the expansion of money supply. When central banks create new money through printing, digital creation, or quantitative easing, the total amount of money circulating in the economy increases. And when there's more money chasing the same amount of goods, the value of each unit of money tends to fall. It's simple. If you increase the supply of something, its individual value usually goes down. But here's a key point that leads to the real debate among economists. Inflation does not affect everyone equally. When new money enters the economy, it doesn't spread evenly. It flows through specific channels, usually banks, large institutions, governments, and people who receive loans or financial injections first. These first receivers benefit because they spend this new money before prices have fully adjusted. This phenomenon is known as the Cantillon effect. But by the time the money reaches ordinary citizens like us, prices have already risen. So people who receive this new extra money late or not at all end up paying higher prices without enjoying the benefits of getting extra money. In this sense, inflation can be seen as hiding redistribution of wealth. It helps some and it harms others. That's why some economists argue that inflation is not just a neutral or natural phenomenon. It has winners, but also it has losers. It can stimulate the economy, yes, but it can also distort markets and reduce the real value of people's savings. Now, does it mean inflation is always bad? Not exactly. A moderate and stable level of inflation is usually considered healthy. It encourages consumers to spend rather than hoard money, and it reduces the risk of economic stagnation. But too much inflation or inflation caused by too much money creation can destabilize an economy and erode trust. And what about deflation? If inflation reduces purchasing power, then deflation, falling prices, might sound like a good thing, like a good idea. But most economists agree that deflation also creates serious problems. When prices fall, people often delay purchases because they expect things to become cheaper in the future. This reduces consumption, which reduces production, which leads to unemployment, and the cycle gets worse. Like inflation, deflation also benefits a small group, usually people holding cash, but it harms borrowers, workers, and businesses. So, in the end, both inflation and deflation can redistribute wealth in unfair ways, and both can create instability. The key is finding a balanced, stable environment where money maintains its value over time and the economy grows sustainably. Inflation is not just about rising prices, it's about how money is created, how it flows through society, and who gains or loses along the way. Understanding this gives you a deeper view of how the economic system really works. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you want to support me, you'll find my online shop in the description. There you can buy me thyme and mint, my herbal infusions, which I produce myself. I grow them on my own land and then I mix them to create these infusions. If you want to support me, you can buy my infusions in my online shop, link in the description. Thank you all for watching and see you next time.